He joins us on the Harbor One hotline this morning. Hello, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. But you know what? Sometimes I wish I had things to do over again. Like last week, I was talking about Jim Montgomery starting to be tougher and using the paddle instead of the feather. And Courtney had a reaction. I think Scheim has it lined up for me. Can you give it to me?
Yes.
Paddle instead of the feather. Whoa.
Right to the gutter.
I know.
Right into
Where does
the
her
gutter.
mind go?
It was crazy.
Can we relax for a second? I am having a tough one right now, Mike.
And by the way, it's Reese's peanut butter cups, not
Okay.
Reese's.
Okay.
Reese's.
So Wiggy was spot on when it came to that.
Yeah.
And on a serious note, we spent some time on Tuesday discussing your email on Adam Johnson. And saw yesterday that his aunt has spoken and has said that the family wants justice. I know there's an ongoing investigation when it comes to this, but you were pretty convinced that that is not completely unintentional, or maybe I should let you speak for yourself.
The situation was a 2-on-2, two offensive players versus two defensive players. And usually you define either verbally or by your actions who you're going to take. But when there's a crisscross, and the guy that was being defended by the guy that lifted his skate, I forget his name, but anyway, he crisscrossed, and that causes confusion. And the defender, who then went and clipped, look, I don't know if he clipped his skate. The tape is so grainy and so from so far away, but the thought was that his skate got clipped. And when that happens, you usually fall forward or you fall down immediately because you've lost your edge. But he did something that I've never seen. He lifted the leg that supposedly was clipped and lifted it with incredible athletic skill. And lifted it up because I think he was trying to delay, to stall, or just check Adam Johnson. And Johnson, about 6 feet, his head's down a little bit lower because he's carrying the puck. But I've never seen anybody with a kick that high in an attempt to prevent somebody from making progress across the ice. I can't speak to his mindset or whether there was a history or something, but it was a really weird play, a dangerous play. A suspendable play, and in this case, it wound up in a tragedy. I've watched it 50 times and trying to figure out what was going through the guy's mind, and the only thing I can think of was he thought he was going to lose his positioning on the back check, and he was trying to help out defensively, and he made this wild and crazy kick that ended somebody's life. It was crazy.
You said in your email that you felt like he should be suspended for life.
I do. If the skates it's a dangerous weapon if you're using it as such. Or in this case, it was. I'm not going to say he was trying to hurt anybody, but it was so dangerous and so careless and so, and the result was so incredibly tragic that I'd take his right to play the game away from him for the rest of his life professionally.
What about, this comes up from time to time in sports, do you think criminal charges should ever result from something that happens in sports?
I don't think, I can't say it should never happen, but I mean, what goes on the ice should be penalized by the people who are running the game. But, if I took my stick and smacked Wiggy over the head with it, just completely, as we were crossing to each other's benches, that might result in some legal action. But I think most of the time it can be taken care of by the powers that be in the league that monitors the sport. But I suppose we carry over if some idiot goes into the stands and beats somebody with a shoe, it might result in some legal action.
Gary Bettman said yesterday that it would take years for the NHL to make neck guards mandatory. I don't understand that. I feel like you could very quickly get on the phone with Marty Walsh or find a way to institute some kind of an emergency like executive order. Do you think it would? Do you think it would take years to make that happen?
I don't know why. only if the players rejected it as a proposal. I mean, it would be entirely a negotiating point between the union and the owners. I don't know why. It certainly wouldn't take years to do it physically. There are neck guards around all over the place. And if the owners decided they wanted to push it through for the safety of their players, I can't imagine that the union wouldn't have some time to receive that notion. I mean, obviously, this heightens everything. And why not have a discussion about it? And I don't know why. If they really, both sides wanted to do it, it would take weeks, not years.
See, and I think, Mike, that becomes the issue. I don't think players necessarily, when it comes to something that they're so comfortable with doing, want to do it. I mean, you probably know better than anybody, how long did it take for the NHL to go from guys not wearing helmets to guys wearing helmets? Because there was probably so much pushback from a lot of players going, I don't want to wear a helmet.
Yeah, that's right. And they grandfathered people that didn't wear helmets. They grandfathered them in, and it took a number of years. I think it was Craig McTavish was the last one to wear a helmet, but it was phased out over time. The next thing that caused a little bit of a kerfuffle was the face mask. I mean, I had to wear a face mask when I broke my jaw once, and I hated it. I hated it. I hated the sweat coming down, and it really blurred your vision. But that finally came around, and I suppose you could go to the full face shield, which they do in college, but that's yet to be implemented. But some of these things are just going to evolve. But
all those guys now grow up playing with the full face shield,
right? They do. So they get used to it. Obviously, people can play with it. The game's never been played with a higher level of skill, and they've done more things to, ensure safety than ever before. So I guess I could see this just sort of says, why not? I mean, is it that big a deal? Is it that, you could spend some time developing a kind of neck guard that was not itchy or thick or sweaty or whatever it might be, but it seems to me that this makes sense. Certainly makes sense for anybody that's, under 12 years old.
Well, Mike, I've seen some people talking about the fact that, okay, you do a neck guard, but then you still have incidents like the Lauco skate to the face that I think it was like an inch away from his eye was the measurement. You got that goalie that got hit on the arm.
Evander Kane.
Yep, Evander Kane got hit. Like, where do you draw the line to protecting players? Because you get hit the wrong way anywhere on the body, and it could be over.
That's right, and it is with an element of danger that you play hockey or you play football or baseball. I mean, I watched Tony Canigliaro get beamed and ruin his life. It was nuts. It can happen to anybody, or gymnastics, you name it. It can be anywhere along the line, but part of life is participating and being active and taking some risks, and we're not going to be able to completely insulate people from danger in this sport, particularly when you have a puck that goes 100 miles an hour, a stick that's hard and quick and can come around your head. Even if you're wearing a helmet, it can be difficult, and certainly the blades of titanium or steel or whatever they're made of now can be dangerous, and I think you're gonna have to live with some measure of that.
Hey, Mike, what did you make of the decision to keep Matthew Poitras on the NHL roster? I mean, overall, he's had, I feel like, a lot of success for a young kid. Yes, he's going to struggle, but that's just kind of what comes with the territory when you're 19 years old.
What other choice did they have? I mean, it was going to go back to, we've talked about Charlie Coyle. I love him, third-line player, one of the best in the league, but he's put Poitras with guys that can be skillful and let him emerge and see where it goes. There really is no other choice for them at the moment, and I think he's done a great job of making it fairly simple that this is an option that needs to be fully explored and probably explored for the entire year.
So I saw he was playing with Zacha and Pasternak a bit the other night. Do you expect him to get more time with guys like that?
You're not going to figure out what this kid is. He's a skill player, right? He handles the puck, he moves the puck, he looks for open people, and he can obviously score some. You're not going to put him with, plumbers and figure out that he's a great offensive player. You need to play him with guys that have his level of skill, and they can interact on the ice with the kind of skill that is necessary to be productive offensively. And it's funny, this team is doesn't lose a game really in regulation all year long, but it's such a different product than it was last year. There's none of that puck possession stuff that we saw. There's none of that, Harlem Globetrotter-ish stuff. That they're working hard for their goals, but this kid gives an element that could develop into something more spontaneous and I think more exciting for the team. So I think it was a no-brainer to keep him.
Mike, 4-game suspension for Charlie McAvoy warranted?
Absolutely. The hit took place on a player that was away from the puck. I mean, he had no idea that McAvoy would be coming. I mean, it's one of those hits where people around the league say, wow, that's a dirty shot. I mean, I was guessing 5, 4's okay. But also it's I'm putting it up on the chalkboard. If I'm playing the Bruins the next time, I'm in town, I'm thinking McAvoy, watch out. And McAvoy, if you get the opportunity, don't be afraid to rattle his cage. And that, to me, is not the reputation that you want. It was flat out dirty.
But I don't look at him as being a dirty player. I know he had the, one prior, but do you?
He's been a really heavy hitter and a good hitter and a great player. There's no question about it. But this was way over the line. Will he do it again? Can he do it again? I mean, did it in Columbus in the playoffs or around the playoff time a few years ago. But I can only go by what I see, and what I saw on that hit was a really vulnerable player who was not paying any attention to really the puck, and certainly wasn't in possession of the puck. And McAvoy came from nowhere and gave him a pretty good lick, and it was a dangerous lick and worthy of that 4 games.
Mike, they've looked good, but they've had to battle to get these wins, and now you take into account that McAvoy's going to have the suspension, Grzelcyk and Lauko are on IR. How difficult will getting wins be in the next couple of games?
The identity that they've established is from the goaltending to the defense and then to forwards, scoring some goals, some ugly goals, some hard-earned goals. So you've nicked with McAvoy and Grzelcyk out. And by the way, this has got to be alarming for the Bruins to see Grzelcyk out yet again. He just doesn't seem to be able to stay healthy. And with both of those guys out, particularly the number of minutes that McAvoy plays, it's going to make them vulnerable for the next 4 games. But off to such a good start, it shouldn't be that worrisome.
Mike, what will this team have to show you this regular season that they're going to be ready for a deep playoff run that they weren't ready for last year?
And I think we talked about this a little bit last week, that the type of game that they're playing is much more suited to like a playoff situation, tighter, and have to rely on defense and really work hard to earn your goals. I guess I'd say that they need to consistently put up, 3 goals a game. It can't be, I'm not looking for 6 or 5 or whatever, but they have to show that they have enough offense to get it done, and they have to make sure that their power play is clicking. But right now, the goaltenders, the way they're playing, the defense that's solid and efficient, and enough offense to get it done every night, finding ways to win, boy, it's pretty encouraging.
Before you go, you can settle an argument here. Where do you stand on Mariah Carey's Christmas song? I think it's garbage. I never need to hear it again. Some want to hear it. Shine wants to play it tomorrow. Where do you stand on it?
Well, I'm with Shine. I mean, what's wrong with the song?
My God!
By the way, I was a little rainy down here yesterday, and I went to see the movie The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, how was that?
Well, first of all, 30 minutes. Regal Cinemas should be jailed. 30 minutes of previews.
Oh, Jesus.
30 minutes. And then the show was 3 hours and 16 minutes. I mean, can't you cut it down to like...
Previews are great.
You don't like the trailers?
Yeah.
You don't like seeing trailers?
I don't mind 1 or 2. Or coming in 2025, a movie. What the hell?
Mike, you're retired. What do you have to do after?
I was getting ready for the show.
Okay.
Was that is a movie worth going to see? It's only in the theaters.
I don't think any movie over 2 hours and 15 minutes is worth seeing. It was good. There's some great acting in it and all that kind of stuff, but I couldn't wait to get out of it.
I just feel
slow. You can tell it's a
I
Martin
don't care, though.
Scorsese movie, so you know it. It's slow.
No, but it doesn't matter. It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
But
the guy is the greatest actor of our time.
is.
I said it.
He's not the greatest actor.
He's
a great
is.
actor.
Wiggy, he is.
Leo is Greg's idol for many reasons.
But when the movie
I'm just telling you, the
is
guy
that
is
slow.
Who's better, Denzel? I know that's what you're going to say.
Listen,
you love
Denzel's
Denzel
great.
Washington.
De Niro.
Denzel's
John
great.
Cena.
De Niro's.
Can we do that De Niro story today at some point?
We were going to play a game with it.
I know.
Yeah, we could do that before we go.
Good.
No, De Niro was okay in the movie, but he's just De Niro. He does the same De Niro type things. But
Yes.
and Leo was good, but he looks like he's aging poorly. I guess they try to do that.
The girls certainly don't think so.
Yeah, watch the movie, Courtney.
All right.
And there's a long way to the bathroom at the theater too.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, she'll never be invited back to that theater again after she complains about the bathroom.
As long as you're inside, doesn't really matter.
You're on Team Mariah. All right.
I am.
I guess I'm on another island. I stand on the many islands by myself. All right, Michael Milbury, thank you.
See ya.